Hi, I'm Sunny Galt, and welcome to Kid Points. Today we're talking about cyberbullying and sexting. And joining us is our special guest, Dr. Adria O'Donnell. She is a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in children and adolescents. So welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about bullying compared to teasing, because there's a difference, right?
There's a big difference.
Okay.
And most of us have been teased, and teasing usually has to do with the nature of the relationship. If we're friends and I can tease you about someone you like, or you can tease me about a mistake, or if we're related, our relationship dictates that I like you underneath. So what I say to you isn't really intended to harm you too much, just meant to make you feel a little uncomfortable or to laugh. Mm-hmm. But bullying is different. Bullying is I have a power over you in some way. I either have a social power, I'm bigger, I'm older, I'm stronger, or I am intending to harm you. And I seek you out, and it's repetitive. It's something that happens over and over. And the victim feels like they can't get away. So it can happen in a sibling situation too, because you can't escape your brother, he's always with you. But it's, I seek you out, and in every situation, I intend to make you feel uncomfortable. I come after you, and you have tried to stop it, so you feel helpless. So there's intent to harm, there's repetitive, systematic, and it is subtle usually. The big bullying gets caught. If I hit you in the face, someone sees it, it leaves a mark, and we manage that. But bullying can be much more subtle, but it's ongoing, and it's really traumatic.
Well, talking about different environments, cyberbullying, it seems like it would be a much bigger problem because lack of accountability really on the internet. You're not face-to-face, so you can pretty much say whatever you want. Do we see that increasing, cyberbullying?
I think it's increasing because more kids are getting technology earlier.
Okay.
So it used to be you needed a cell phone at a certain point in your life. Now you just get one because it's cool, and now you just get one because your older sister got one, and it's buy two for one. So, you kids are just getting their hands on it. And there's no... There is monitoring if you want to go online and watch your kids, everything they say and everything they do, but that's a full-time job. Mm-hmm. And you probably have a full-time job as a parent. So that kind of monitoring is hard. So it's happening more because we're outnumbered, adults to children, and how fast they can text and the immediacy. I can be angry and I can just send a mean text. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, you actually had to wait all day until you saw the same person and then say, hey, I'm mad at you, if you were even mad still.
Yeah.
Or if you had the courage to say it. But now I can just send everything. There's no pause.
So if your child is just a cyberbully, how would parents know?
Your child has to know if you give them a technology, they have to know that you have a password and that you can monitor. They have to know that. And then at the beginning, you have to pop on and monitor from time to time. You say, you know what? You can't talk like that. You can't say sexual content. You can't send a picture of yourself in a bathing suit. That's called pornography. They will get bored of you watching and monitoring, and then you take it away and say, this is a privilege, not a right. We just think kids have a right to this.
Right.
But it's a privilege.
If you are being bullied online, what do you do about that? And as a parent, how do you help your child deal with that? I'm assuming it's different than face-to-face bullying?
Yes, there is some difference. And I'll answer your first question, which is get them offline. Take a break from technology, no screen time. You can say, you know what, you're up all night, your homework's not done, you're hysterical crying because what they posted on your wall or they blocked you or whatever. So it's a virtual drama. It's something that's happening that isn't real, but it feels so real to a teenager. So they don't get to do it. They get it taken away. It's off for spring break. Tell your kid, look, I'm monitoring it. So if this is going to go on, you warn them. I'm going to go on. If this is going on, or if you logged on at 3 a.m., it's done. Or why is there internet in your room? Or why, you have to look at what we're allowing. It's hard because you give your child all this wireless stuff because it's easy for you.
Right.
But then of course they can get on. So you've set them up for failure in a sense. So getting them offline, getting them to block people, blocking numbers, or if they're getting texting that they don't want. So you disconnect your texting for a while. Or you change your number if it gets really bad.
Yeah.
Things like that. So those are some tools. For my teenagers, I tell them not to text when they're mad, not to say, if they're really upset, to break. Just say, I'm really upset. Send an email to themselves, cool off, or think as they're typing, would my principal be okay with this? Would my grandma like this language? As they're texting, to have a moment, and they can even put a little, sign up on their computer at the screen saying, don't text mad. They can do something so that they pause and say, okay, I need to cool down, or okay, I'm going to regret this tomorrow. So having a pause if they're engaged in a war, or just logging off, just saying, I'm done, and logging off. That's the only power you have.
So we do have contracts with Kid Points for cell phone use and online safety. Is that a good idea to share that information with your kids? Be upfront, tell them what your expectations are so they know how to meet them?
definitely. In fact, if you put it on paper, it makes it real. But having a contract where you say, these are my 4 expectations. This way, there's no deceit. So I don't give you technology and then sneakily watch you. But if you put your expectations first, your kids will have a better chance of meeting that. So you can say, no body shots, no profanity, no talking about sex, but writing it in the contract, you sign it, I sign it, and then the consequences are there. First infraction is a warning, second is removal. You lose the privilege for 72 hours. Or you get the phone, but no texting for a week. You know, you monitor that, and you have to make them feel the impact of their choices. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. What is sexting and what does it involve? What should parents be looking for?
You know, it's basically any sexual content that's sent via a text. So it's a pretty big definition. So basically, if I want you to show me body parts, I will say, send me a picture of your abs, and that starts into the sexting. And it's usually talking about anything sexual. Have you ever done it? Do you want to do this? And it's great for boys because they don't have to have the courage to say anything to your face. They can just send it to you and never look at you and never feel the nervousness or the embarrassment or see the reaction on your face. And it usually comes to a girl's phone and they say, what's it? The hardest part is that parents will see the texting and think, oh my gosh, my child is sexually active and all this, but they're just playing. What happens is they're trying out the sexual talk. I don't want to act sexually because that would be slutty. And so I don't want to, but I will talk that way because I can play with the power that has, because boys respond. You know, if I'm going to talk about something, you get responses and the conversation keeps going. So girls have learned the power of it. So once it's presented to them, then they get, oh, this is the game. And I talk about this. The problem is there's multiple problems, but one of the problems is that boys think, okay, when we're together, we can actually be sexual. We can make out and do other things. They call it hooking up. So we can hook up and we don't really have to be going out. But the girl might not have any intention of that. She was just playing or getting your attention, or not even really sexting back, but doesn't stop the conversation. So they say, do you want to do it? And you get question mark. When can we hook up? Smiley face. So I never really say yes to any of those sexual innuendos, and they get worse. Have you ever done this? They get much more intense with the questions. I'm just being edited here.
Right.
But what happens is the girls never have to straight talk it or brave talk it shut. And what you want to say is, dude, my parents checked my cell phone. Knock off your dirty talk, or don't talk to me like that. Find someone else to, or ew, you know, somehow putting it down where they get that that's not the forum for that.
Well, Dr. Adria O'Donnell, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me.
It's been a great conversation.
Thank you so much.